Nick, so it's been a little while since we've seen you in the ring. How much of a frustrating period has it been for yourself?
Hi, listen, it's been very frustrating. I've had a lot of different problems, from opponents pulling out to a couple of issues with my license, but thankfully, all behind me, all sorted, it's all squared off. So hopefully, going to be back in the ring October the 13th. The Excelsior Sporting Club down in Cannock, Scott Murray's promotion. So after over a year, fights fallen for three fights I had to pull out were cancelled on the day off last year in the past kind of 16 months. So it'd be good to finally get out there, dust a bit of ring rust off, and obviously put all the hard work I've been doing in training and sparring on show.
I mentioned it's a frustrating period for you. How hard has it been for you to keep going, to keep pushing through, to pursue this?
Listen, I'm quite a stubborn individual. For people that know me, they know that once I get my mind on something, I kind of see it through to the end. So it's been tough. Some mornings you go, you know what, there's nothing coming up. I don't need to go to the gym. I can, take a day off, but it's not really my style. I like to train, push myself, and always try and improve. So it's definitely been a challenge. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's not, but I've always got that mindset where I need to be training, I need to be trying to improve and turning a negative into a positive. So it's been hard at times, but I feel as if I've, stayed on the right kind of path and been doing the right things despite all the setbacks.
Definitely. Like you mentioned, obviously a fight date in line now, so there's a light end of the tunnel, something for you to aim towards as well. And I suppose that makes it a lot easier when you do go to the gym or when you get up in the morning.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, I've known about this fight roughly date for a wee while now. So it just gives you that wee extra push to get out of your bed at 7 o'clock every morning or 6 o'clock sometimes to go in and get the work done, get the sessions in. So it all helps. It's all an extra 1%, 2% here and there to push you when you need it. So definitely at the end of the tunnel. And like I say, I feel as if that I've made a lot of improvements myself the last 16 months and also been put myself in tough environments and hard environments where I need to work hard and be really on my game and obviously pushing the guys that I'm working with. So I feel as if I've got, a lot to show when I finally manage to get back steps to the ropes again.
I know you had at least one of the fights, potentially two fall through down in Cannock, and I think you was there. I think it's almost fight day or day before the fight where it fell through. Are you looking forward to experiencing that? 'Cause it's a very different environment to some of the shows you've been on. It's a dinner show. It's a little bit later in the evening. It's a very different setup. You got Ray Mancini come over from America, hosting it with Steve Bunce and Richie Woodall. Are you looking forward to performing in that environment?
Yeah, listen, I actually fought as an amateur on one of Scott's events, so I've got a vague idea of what to expect. Like you say as well, I had a couple of fights fall through on the day off, so I've been in attendance at a couple of the nights there as well. So I know what to expect. The environment, the atmosphere, how the show will be run, what it will look like. But listen, I try and disregard anything that's been in the past. The past is the past. The future is the future. All I need to focus on is what I'm doing on the 13th, and that's getting in there and putting on a clinical performance. They're pretty packed little shows as well, so it's a good place to get back in and kind of get your momentum again. So I'm looking forward to it. Scott's a good guy. He's backed me in the past year. He's obviously backed me with the next two shows he's going to put me on. So I'm very grateful to have his support. And I'm just looking to get out there, put on a show, and give him a good spectacle as well.
Absolutely. You mentioned you've been busy, you've been staying in the gym sparring. One person who's sparring is Daniel Dubois, who's got a big fight coming up. So you're obviously there putting in the work with him while he's getting ready for Anthony Joshua. Just talk to me a little bit about that and how it's been sparring Daniel for the biggest fight of his career.
Yeah, listen, I think anybody that knows Daniel knows the type of, individual he is. He's ultra focused on the task at hand, and there's no there's no off days for him. He's 100 mile an hour. And definitely that I have to say that in sparring it's tough rounds. He's not in there to take any prisoners or no quarter given, none taken. So it's on your merits. It's full on. It's good hard work. So he's massive puncher. he's looking sharp in the gym. I've really enjoyed my rounds with him, been challenging and also pushing myself to give him the best work that I possibly can. You know, my attitude as a sparring partner isn't to just come in and get through the rounds, it's to push myself and improve. And in turn, that helps, you know, him prepare for his fight. So it's been great experience.
A big part of boxing, in my opinion, is the mental aspect of it. How is Daniel's mentality and mindset during camp?
Like I just said to you there, he's kind of he never stops. He's a hard worker. Obviously, he's working with Don Charles now as well. Don's a great guy, but also very focused. And I think, you know, let Don's the type of trainer that tries to learn his fighter, you know, mentally and physically. So, you know, he'll feed off Don. He's obviously got a good team around him as well. His dad's very integral to what he's doing. So he's in a good place mentally. He's training hard, sparring good rounds, getting good work in. So I don't really think his camp could have went any better. He seems to be in a good place. Like you say, it's a massive fight. So I think where they're based in London, you can see the Wembley Arch from the training facility. So if that doesn't keep it in the forefront of your mind what all this training's for, I don't think anything will. So pretty, you know, I don't know, I can't think of the right word for it now, but almost quite fitting that you can see that Wembley Arch for the training facility.
Absolutely. You mentioned as well a moment ago, massive puncher. He's one of the biggest punchers in the heavyweight division currently. You've been in with some big guys, you've sparred some big punchers yourself. Just how hard does Daniel punch? Is he one of the biggest and heavy hitters you've sparred?
Yeah, I'd have to say, yeah, definitely one of the biggest punchers that I've been in the ring with. And he's, you know, like I say, his attitude is to come and to wipe you out. It's not to go to a points decision. He can box. He's got a great jab. You know, you watch him doing the pad work with Kieran Farrow, and he's got every shot in the book. But his ambition when he's in there is to bowl over whoever he's in with. So I think it's safe to say that we're in for a stoppage. That this fight definitely ain't going the distance on September the 21st.
They say a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter. You mentioned his team, Kieran, Don, his dad, the people around him. Just how relaxed is he during camp? Although you mentioned he's very serious and focused, is it also relaxed and, almost tunnel vision, but in a good sense?
Yeah, definitely. I think he's a young guy in terms that he's 26 years of age, but I think this is his 24th professional contest. He obviously turned over, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago now. So he's not, you know, he's not a novice. He's an experienced, you know, well-seasoned pro. He's been in there with some of the top names in the game. And especially in his last two fights, he's been in real, you know, Jarrell Miller, who arguably beat Ruiz. That was I think that answered a lot of questions, that one from, especially, you know, because there was a few questions marks. Oh, he gives up, he does this, he does that. He proved any doubters wrong in that fight. And then obviously with the Hergovich fight, he was an underdog again going into that. And he managed to pull it out and get the job done. Big stoppage late on in the fight. So I think he's got plenty of momentum going into this. Very experienced. Switches on when the bell goes. But then at the same time, you don't want to burn yourself out. So he's pretty chilled, relaxed in between the sessions. It's only when you're in the ring with him you need to worry.
You mentioned the key word mentioned there, Nick, is momentum. As a fighter, you'll know, but tell me how important is momentum for a fighter heading into a fight, especially a big one?
Massive, boxing's as a sport of timing. Um, it's not necessarily about the best fighting the best. It's the best getting the right fights at the right time. Um, so listen, I think this is a real 50-50 fight. It's hard to, pick between either guy. Um, there's a few things that make me think that Dubois could cause the upset. I think, like we just touched on, his last two fights have been real hard, tough tests, and he's came through them with flying colours. If you look at Joshua's last four opponents, I think it was Franklin, Hellenius, Wallen, and Ngannou. I don't think any of those guys really compare with Dubois' last two, but obviously enough as well. And he's coming with good momentum as well with his victories. So I think it just adds to the occasion. Both guys are both on winning streaks, both had decent wins. Daniel more so, I would say, and it really adds to the occasion. So I think, like you say, it's building momentum, having the momentum, getting the fights at the right time. I think it's really all adding, especially 90 in front of 96,000, nearly 100,000 people in Wembley. It's massive.
Do you think, obviously, with AJ's momentum, he's had those four wins, but the Ngannou fight and Helenius one's the two that stick out. Where obviously there's what about only a handful of rounds between them. They weren't really testing for Anthony. Do you think that he could go in with a almost like a false momentum, where he feels potentially he's more ready than he may be on the night?
This might sound strange, but I think Josh is the only guy that really doesn't underestimate Daniel in his camp. Obviously, they shared rounds when they were a lot younger. The GB set up in Sheffield. And I think, I don't think Josh is overlooking him. I think maybe some of the guys in his camp are telling him that he's got nothing to worry about. He's going to go in and smash him. He's going to go in and do this. This is just me surmising. I don't actually know. But the one person in the Joshua camp who I feel isn't underestimating Daniel is Anthony Joshua. So, no, I think he'll be preparing hard. He knows that this is a hard fight. It's probably a fight he didn't have to take either. But the British element of it, an all British heavyweight dust up at Wembley in front of 96,000 people. And the other thing is Turkey wants it. So if Turkey wants it, the likelihood is it's going to happen. So I think it's all, going into the pot, and it's, building up for everything all pulling together and it being a special night. So no, I think Anthony's not underestimating him. I think he knows what's coming. He knows how tough Daniel is. He knows how big a puncher he is. I'm sure he's confident in his own ability, as he should be, but I think he understands the task at hand.
Just the last topic, Nick, about that you mentioned there, the sparring session between them when they was younger. It was when Daniel was 18 years old. It was about 2016. It's the same year that Anthony had won the world title for the first time against Charles Martin. There's a lot of talk, was he knocked down? Was he knocked out? Was he just on wobbly legs? And that sort of all resurfaced recently. But because it was so long ago, will they look at that spar and take it into this and almost study that spar from before? Or is too much time passed for it to really matter anymore?
Well, listen, first off, sparring. So I don't actually know what happened. Read some stories and stuff like that, but I wasn't there. I never seen it. I don't know what happened. So I try not to read into it too much like that. Having said that, if Dubois did wobble him, it wouldn't surprise me because he's a massive puncher, and all it takes is one punch at heavyweight, and you can get your bell rung. So, aye. But listen, I don't think it read too much into it. Both men have been wobbled. Both men have been hurt. Any heavyweight boxer out there who tells you they've never been hurt's a liar. So, aye, I don't think they'll read too much into it. But listen, that could give Daniel a little edge, mentally knowing that he's been in there and he's hurt him as a young man. Now he's coming in, a 26-year-old, 24 professional fights behind him, just come through two of the toughest tests in his career. It could give him that little mental edge within himself to know that he can go out there and get the job done. But will that be bothering Joshua? Personally, I don't think so. I think, like you say, a lot of times passed since then. Like I said, it's heavyweight boxing. Anybody can get the bell rung at any point. All it takes is switching off for 1 second, and that's it. So who knows? But I suppose it adds to the build up. It adds to the questions that are going to be asked, and I suppose we're going to get them all answered pretty soon.
Definitely. That's it. It all builds to the story beforehand. Nick, thank you very much for your time. All the best of luck for October for your next fight. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be good to see you back in the ring again.
Yeah, listen, pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to me talk rubbish. Hope you all have a good week. Enjoy the fight.